Step 0, presentations. Ooh, here we go. Okay, so step 0, sellers organize and execute an acquisition campaign. Let's have a look at presentations. A presentation to create interest and meet the seller. This is usually a presentation run over the telephone. Mind you, this presentation is a little bit old now, so yeah, a little bit old, like you. Ooh. Today it's you know, telephone sales is going through a hard time. Can I speak to somebody? No, you can't. But I will call the police and tell them that you called me. Yeah, you know, in a lot of countries, telephone sales is actually becoming so illegal. You can end up, you know, doing all sorts of going to prison and rubber gloves and stuff, and not very nice. Yeah, so you have to check your rules on telephone selling and what's allowed, what's not. And there are still some civilized countries where it's still allowed, but in the uncivilized countries, you know, you have to do trade fairs and stuff to do step 1 of an acquisition campaign, or phase 1 of an acquisition campaign. And so, you know, the scoping of the presentation skill within step 0 has changed a little bit, or it hasn't changed, it's always been like that, but we need to take that into the consideration as well. However, number 1, over the phone, we've got a presentation type where you're going to be, you know, doing an acquisition campaign on the phone. You can tell your story, look at the step 0 materials for all of that, and then you're going to say, you know, would you like a meeting? They're going to say no, and you're going to say, would you like me to get on the phone with you and tell you all about this in a little bit more detail? It'll take about 15-20 minutes or so, and they're going to say, yeah, that'd be better, and so you're ready to go. You're going to send a couple of slides, 3, 4, 5 slides, maximum 5 I would go. I normally do 4, maybe 5 slides, and they're going to be simple slides, and you're going to open that slide show up, and you're going to say to the customer, look, can you go into slideshow, and then I'll lead you through those slides, because I have a particular logic behind it, and I have some transitions which build up that logic. Okay, if you use the word transitions, then they normally go. Can you see my finger when I do the jet? No, you can't. I have to put it up. Then it looks no. Say the word transitions. If you say the word transitions, they will press the slideshow button, and then you can lead them through it much easier. If you don't say the word transitions, then they look at all of the slides at once. Yeah, which kind of kills your logic and your flow a bit. So that's just a tip, which I found to get them into the flow. And then you say, look, I'm going to lead you through the presentation. When I say click the button, then click the button, and we'll move to the next point, the next topic, or the next slide. Yeah, normally they're absolutely fine to do this. So what's critical about this type of presentation is that you need to build interaction into it in a very, very structured way. You cannot move from one slide to the next without getting the customer's input or the prospect's input. You can't. It's disrespectful to have a monologue, yeah? They spend all of their time on telcos where they're going, listening to somebody at the end going, and they're at the end going, yeah, so that's what they do every day. Yeah, they don't want to do it with you, yeah, however interesting your information is. So you have to make it interactive, yeah, which means, you know, 2 questions, 1 slide definitely, 1 question per slide definitely, maybe 2 questions per slide. Think about it. Where's the interaction going to come from? What questions are you going to ask them? Yeah. You know, this is the information. Is it the same for you? This is the next point. What do you think of that? Yeah, don't overdo it, but make sure that it is there. Make sure that you're really keeping the presentation as interactive as possible. Slide size or text size, it's got to be big. Yeah, you can't have too much information on a slide. You can't expect them to read those slides. They have to be able to look at it, get the information, and then get back to listening. Yeah, and it needs to be really very, very clear as to the logic and flow. So out of all of the presentations in the pack, I would actually say that the step 0 presentation needs to have the clearest logic and structure behind it. The good thing about a step 0 presentation is that it really trains the sales force to deliver a message in a particular way and The really good thing about it is that when you prepare a Step 0 presentation, you're also preparing a Step 3 presentation, which you can use within that Step 3 consolidation process if you need to do a presentation there. So that's pretty cool as well. Yeah. The other type of Step 0 presentation is at the trade fair. Yeah. You know, you're at a trade fair, you're on the stand at a trade fair, and you speak to somebody and you say, look, can I tell you a story? And they say, yeah, and that's why I'm here, and what do you do, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you tell them the story and they say, hey, that sounds really interesting. And you say, well, great. Do you want a bit more information? And they say, yes, please. And you good. Off we go. So you take them into a dark room. So you take them somewhere else and you've got a laptop and you show them the slides. So that was it on the sales presentations. Good luck.